Welcome back to my channel. My name is Omomi, Mimi Akinagun. As you can tell by the title, today's video is a different video than what would be expected from me on this channel, and it is definitely a long overdue, well needed video. So the reason why I actually decided to come here and share with you my experiences with the topic at hand is because I recently had an argument. Well, it was more than an argument, it was a big blowout with someone that I consider to be a good friend. However, I do think that throughout our friendship I knew that she was this type of person, so what actually transpired during the argument I'm actually not surprised with. During this argument, as a rebuttal for me calling her dumb, she thought that it was appropriate to call me Barren and say that I would never have children because I've had a miscarriage in the past. She also then went on to say that I'm a murderer because in addition to that, I have had an abortion, which I had when I was 19. I'm 35 now, so it was definitely a very long time ago. And I wanted to come on here and make this video because I don't want women that have experienced any of those two things to feel ashamed or to feel guilty for either making the choice of one or not being in control of what happened in terms of one. If you ever feel as though it's appropriate for you to bring up a trauma like that as a rebuttal for anything to anybody, I want you to know that you're wrong. And if you even have in mind to use that as a rebuttal, you are not a nice person inherently, and your character is very flawed. Friends with any women that in your times of disagreement, they will bring up things that you have shared with them in your most vulnerable state as a way to draw yourself closer to them. That person is not a friend. If that person does it once, they're going to do it again, and the second time that they do it, they're going to do it worse. Sorry, I've got a plane fire. If you want to hear what led to the argument that I had with this said ex-friend now, definitely let me know, because I definitely want to share that with you as well. I feel like that's definitely adult conversation that we need to have as women. The meat and potato mostly of this video is actually to talk about dealing with miscarriage, life after miscarriage. I had a miscarriage a very long time ago when I was 22. I'm gonna be really honest with you, I think about it every single day. I've thought about it every single day. I don't want to say that my miscarriage was different, because it isn't. My experience obviously is not going to be the same as another woman's experience. I miscarried at 20 weeks. Although I call it a miscarriage, I actually went into labor at home and I actually gave birth to my baby at home. I actually gave birth to a child who was alive. Editing self here. I just wanted to clarify a little, although I do refer to what happened to me as a miscarriage because I think it's most relatable to women who are experiencing similar losses of children during the early stages or within pregnancy itself. I actually was documented as going into spontaneous early labor on my medical records, and that was as a result of my amniotic fluid being extremely low. I did have a scan a few hours before this happened, and baby was fine, healthy, growing fine. In fact, baby was sucking his thumb. There wasn't actually anything wrong with the fetus. I actually had gone for a scan a few hours before and the baby was fine. I know that there is no way that you can prevent a miscarriage from happening. There absolutely isn't. Sometimes miscarriages can happen just simply because there is a defect within the fetus, within the embryo, and that is your body's natural way of bringing forth a healthy life. I was actually leaking amniotic fluid for a few weeks. I realised that I was wet down there a lot. I did kind of feel like, okay, this is not right. It's happening every day. And I did request to have further checkups, which weren't happening. Where I was staying, there was quite a huge strain on the hospital that I was actually using for my antenatal, and I hadn't actually had an antenatal checkup in the whole 20 weeks. I did have one very early on, but it wasn't even an antenatal checkup. It was just, I have a weak cervix. That's just something that I know from the first time that I was actually pregnant, that I have a weak cervix. So I actually went to go and check that very early on to see whether everything was okay. So, and that was something that I requested. Because of the area that I was living in, there was a strain on the hospital, so there was a really long waiting list for to be allocated a midwife, and that stretch of time not to have antenatal is quite vast. I'm just thinking the first time that I was pregnant, I actually started to already get requests to come in from antenatal quite earlier on, and I wish that I would have actually just went back to my mum's place during this period, because where my mum lives, they're just a little bit more responsive in terms of giving appointments. If you feel like something is wrong, if you innately feel like something is wrong, don't allow people to make you feel like you're crazy. It actually happened on Boxing Day. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. For anyone watching that's not in the UK that doesn't know what Boxing Day is, was having the most intense period pains. I kind of went to use a toilet and something came out. I went to the hospital to get checked out. It was just like a really big, massive blood clot that came out inside the toilet. I got checked out, baby was fine, but they identified at that checkup at the hospital accident and emergency that I was leaking fluid, and my fluid was really low. The doctor that actually attended to me was actually a Nigerian woman, and the nurses that I had were black as well. So I don't want to be like, oh, racist. The doctor advised that I would have to be admitted and I would have to be on a drip, try and get the fluid back up and monitor myself, so I would have to be admitted. But she said, do you know what, because it's Christmas, go home, enjoy your last day with your family. Well, she did actually say your last day, but I know she didn't mean it like that. Go home, enjoy Christmas with your family, and then come back very early tomorrow morning, and we will admit you tomorrow morning. And I wish that I would have said, no, I just want to be admitted now. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to say how you feel. If you have somebody that you know will speak on your behalf and that will have your best interest at heart, have them with you at every step. I went home literally in the early hours of Boxing Day morning. I was in so much pain I couldn't even call for my mum to help. I was trying to get down into the bathroom. I sat on the toilet and I gave birth to baby on toilet. In the hospital, they had to do a D&C to get the afterbirth out, and my temperature was really high, and that I could also pass away as well because I was losing blood. And I was like, I just want to die. I was like, actually, let me die. That's how I felt. I actually said, I want to die. Let me die. Like, it's okay. I'm fine with going now. That's how I felt. I can't forget about what my child looked like. I can't forget the visual in my head. And I would be lying if I said that it didn't change me as a person. Don't allow people to tell you how to grieve. It's okay if you have not gotten over it. It definitely gets easier over the years, where there's like maybe days that you don't think about it as much, that you're not beating yourself up about it as much, you're not feeling as guilty as you did closer to the time, that what could I have done differently, and so on and so forth. Don't feel like the requests that you make during that time are silly requests. The hospital that is near my mum's place, they offer, I don't know whether they do this everywhere in the UK, I'm not sure, but they actually have a baby cemetery, and they offer that you can bury your child in the cemetery or you can incinerate. This is gonna make sorry. Okay, sorry. So initially I had said that, okay, I want to bury the baby. I don't want my mum to watch this and feel bad or feel guilty or whatever, because this is not my intention. But I wish that I didn't ask her what she felt, because her response was, maybe the best thing is to not bury the child because you're not going to think about it as much. Maybe it's best to just go for the incineration, so you're not thinking about it, you can just move on. And I wish that I would have just not asked. That led to even more guilt, like, what the hell did I do? I know that that's what they do. So I know that's kind of like what they do in the medical field. I know that it's a medical thing. My advice definitely would be to do what you know is going to make you happy. I just want to really urge you to do what your heart says to do and what your first instinct is to do. When I was actually still in the hospital, I just remember just being horrible to my mum, not intentionally horrible to her. When she was saying that, that she's happy that I'm okay, and I'm like, why? Do you get what I mean? Like, I want to die. Like, I want to die like I've lost my child and you've still got your child. How is that fair? But I do remember being a bit mean to her. Like I didn't want her to touch me. I didn't want anyone around, basically. And obviously she's my mum, so she's there. And this was mostly just in the hospital though. I just wanted to be alone. Don't beat yourself up if you do act out of character, if you say things that you don't necessarily mean to your loved ones, those around you. When you are actually back in your normal state, to actually apologise for the things that you did at that time. You're grieving and you're not in a good place. What's the saying? Hurt people. Almost like, I'm hurt, I'm feeling this hurt, I want you to equally feel as hurt as I do. I was in the hospital for 2 days, 2 or 3 days, I can't think, 3 days actually. I think I was in there for 3 days. I think I was in the hospital for 3 days. I can't actually remember now. Then I was discharged. I found it really difficult to sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, literally all I could see was the baby. And every time I would actually sleep, I would like dream of it as though it was happening all over again. So I just couldn't sleep. It was constantly on my mind. I was just in such a low place. I went to the doctors and he prescribed sleeping pills for me, just so I could sleep, because at that point I hadn't slept in days. I was exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. I think I took like 1 or 2. I didn't want to get hooked on that to sleep. My breasts had already started to fill up with milk. I think they fill up quite early on anyway, but then I started to now lactate. I was lactating for about maybe 2 weeks after it happened. Like, I would just be there and I would just start lactating. That was another reminder of what had happened. Just know that you can choose to tell who you want to tell. Set a boundary with your immediate family, who do know that you have told in confidence that they should not share it with people that you do not want them to share it with, or that you haven't personally told, and they should respect that. I definitely heard some quite inconsiderate things during the grieving process. Obviously I know the people that actually said it were not trying to be insensitive, but definitely what they said was insensitive. So please do not say these things to someone that has shared with you that they had a miscarriage. Do not say to them that at least you didn't get to know the child, that would have been worse. Please don't say that. Please don't say at least all of your money can be spent on yourself now. You don't have to think about spending your money on someone else now. Back to normal. Please don't say that to anybody. Please don't allow anybody to make you feel as though you are grieving for too long. or to say to you, well, get on with it. You know, it happens to all of us. Situation and circumstances is different, and how people grieve is different. So don't allow someone to make you feel like you have to just get over it. Because I'm here to tell you now that you're gonna think about this incident for pretty much the rest of your life. Even when you have more children, you're going to think, oh, that child would have been this age. What kind of personality would the child have had? Who would it have looked like? Oh, I wonder how tall they would have been. Oh, I wonder this, I wonder that. Sometimes maybe I'm having a moment where I'm really thinking back on a lot of things, and I'll just start crying. I'm not ashamed to say that. It is what it is. It is what it is. And also as well, seek help. If there's help available, seek help. One thing that was offered in the borough that I lived in, or borough that my mum lives in, is that they actually offered post miscarriage counselling. I don't know whether they do this everywhere in the UK, guys. I'm just kind of like saying what they offer. And I really do wish that I would have actually taken that up. That incident really changed my life. It was at that point that I started to go through bouts of like really deep depression. I did go to a doctor and was prescribed antidepressants, which I didn't take because I didn't want to get on this loop of antidepressants, and I just tried to just kind of like push through it. So I do definitely wish that I would have taken up that help of counselling at that point. So counselling was like what, therapy? Yeah, like I guess it's like therapy, right? I just wanted to share my experience with miscarriage with you. I know that there is this kind of thing that, you know, black women are strong. There's certain things that you don't talk about because it's taboo, and certain things that are used to shame women, especially black women. And I just want to let you guys know that it's okay not to be okay. You can share this video with anyone that you know is experiencing a miscarriage at the moment, or has in the past, and would like to watch somebody else's experience, watch somebody else talk about their experience. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. So like, share, comment, let's chat it up down in the comment section. I'd love to hear your experiences. If you would like to share with me, I would love to discuss those experiences with you further, definitely. And if you want any advice that I can offer, I'm happy to offer any advice that I can to the best of my knowledge. So yeah, let's chat it up in the comment section. Let us encourage and inspire each other by sharing our experiences and not feeling ashamed or feeling guilty. It's not a taboo. It's not a taboo, and it doesn't make you less of a woman to experience such a thing. It's quite disgusting that other women would even think that it was appropriate to make a woman feel less of because she's experienced something that's natural. It's natural, you know. So yeah, I hope you guys have stuck around to the end, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. I know this video is probably babble, and I'm sorry if it is babble. I'm gonna try and chop it up to make it be coherent and informative, and yeah. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.